Alrighty. See if we're live on YouTube, and then we're good to go. I hear myself playing back, so that means we're live. And let me share it to the people that have asked for it. Okay, there we go. Boom. Oh my goodness. Huh? Yeah. They'll go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. All right. I've got a visitor today, everybody. I've got a visitor. So I've got my grandma here with me. We're gonna read Exodus 4-7. And then we'll get started. So I know, let's go. Okay. So let's go ahead and pray and we'll get started. Heavenly Father, I just thank you for the day, Lord. I just thank you for waking us up and putting breath in our lungs to see another day and live it out for your glory, Father. I ask that you open our ears to hear, eyes to see, and hearts wide open to receive what it is you have for us today. And that we just tune in to all it is and all the blessings that you have in store for us on this fabulous Wednesday. I thank you so much for this day, and I pray this all in your precious and holy name. Amen. All right. Good morning. As you're hopping on live, say hello. We are in Exodus already. So we are in Exodus 4-7. So if we remember yesterday, we started reading Moses's journey, and we're going to continue with Moses's journey in chapter 4. So good morning. Good morning. I see you've got someone on YouTube. Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. All right. Chapter 4. Moses objected. They won't trust me. They won't listen to a word I say. They're going to say, God appeared to him hardly. So God said, that's that. And what's that in your hand? A staff. Throw it on the ground. He threw it. It became a snake. Moses jumped back so fast. God said to Moses, reach out and grab it by the tail. Hey, we're done. No, they're fine. Come on. Lay down. All right. Moses threw the staff on the ground, and it became a snake. Moses jumped back so fast. God said to Moses, reach out and grab it by the tail. He reached out and grabbed it, and he was holding his staff again. That's so they will trust that God appeared to you, and the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God said to them, put your hand inside your shirt. He slipped his hand under his shirt and then took it out. His hand had turned leprous like snow. He said, put your hand back under your shirt. He said, and he took it back out as healthy as before. So if they don't trust you and aren't convinced by the first sign, the second sign should do it. But if that doesn't, if even after these two signs, they don't trust you, listen to your message. Take some water out of the Nile, pour it out on the dry land, and then of the Nile River that you pour out will turn into blood as it hits the ground. Moses raised another object to God. Master, please, I don't talk well. I've never been good with my words. Neither before nor after you spoke to me. I stutter and stammer. God said, and who do you think made the human mouth? And Who makes some mute, some deaf, some straightened, some blind? Didn't I, God? So get going. I'll be right there with you, with your mouth. I'll be right there to teach you what to say. Good morning, Mom. He said, oh, Master, please send somebody else. God got angry with Moses. Don't you have a brother, Aaron, the Levite? He's good with words. I know he is. He speaks very well. In fact, at this very moment, he's on his way to meet you. When he sees you, he's going to be glad. You'll speak to him and tell him what to say. I'll be right there with you as you speak and with him as he speaks, teaching you step by step. He will speak to the people for you. He'll act as your mouth, but you'll decide what comes out of it. Now take this staff in your hand. You'll use it to do the signs. Moses went back to Jericho, his father-in-law, and said, I need to return to my relatives who are in Egypt. I want to see if they're still alive. Jericho said, go, and peace be with you. God said to Moses and Midian, go, return to Egypt. All the men who wanted to kill you are dead. So Moses took his wife and sons and put them on a donkey for the return to Egypt. He had a firm grip on the staff for God. God said to Moses, when you get back to Egypt, be prepared. All the wonders that I will do through you, you'll do before Pharaoh. But I will make him stubborn so that he will refuse to let the people go. Then you are to tell Pharaoh God's message. Israel is my son, my firstborn. I told you, free my son so that he can serve you. But you refused to free him. So now I'm going to kill your son, your firstborn. On the journey back, and they camped for the night. God met Moses so he would have killed him in Zipporah. Took the flint knife and cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses's member with it. He said, oh, you're a bridegroom of the blood to me. Then God let him go. She used the phrase bridegroom of blood because of the circumcision. God spoke to Aaron, go and meet Moses in the wilderness. He then went and met him at the mountain of God and kissed him. Moses told Aaron the message that God had sent him to speak the wonders that he had commanded him to do. And so Moses and Aaron proceeded to round up the leaders of Israel. Aaron told them everything that God had told Moses and demonstrated the wonders before the people. And the people trusted and listened believingly that God was concerned with what was going on with the Israelites and knew all about their afflictions. They bowed low and they worshiped. Chapter 5. After Moses and Aaron approached Pharaoh, they said, God, the God of Israel says, free my people so that they can hold a festival for me in the wilderness. Pharaoh said, who is God that I shall listen to him and send him off? I know nothing of this so-called God, and I am certainly not going to send Israel off. They said, the God of the Hebrews has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness so we can worship our God, lest he strike us with either disease or death. But the king of Egypt said, why on earth, Moses and Aaron, would you suggest the people be given a holiday? Back to work, Pharaoh went on. Look, I've got all these people bumming around, and now you want to reward them with time off? Pharaoh took immediate action. He set down orders to the slave drivers and the underlings. Don't provide straw for the people for making bricks, as you have been doing. Make them get their own straw and make them produce the same number of bricks, no reduction in their daily quotas. They're getting lazy. They're going around saying, give us time off so we can worship our God. Crack down on them. That'll sure them up for whining. their God fantasies. The slave drivers are their underlyings went out on the people with the new instructions. Pharaoh's orders, no more straw provided. Get your own straw wherever you can find it, and not one less brick for your daily work quota. The people scattered all over Egypt, scrambling for straw. The slave drivers were merciless, saying, complete your daily quotas of bricks, the same number as when you were given straw. The Israelites' foremen, whom the slave drivers had appointed, were beaten and badgered. Why didn't you finish your quota of the bricks yesterday or the day before? And now again today. The Israelite foreman came to Pharaoh and cried out for relief. Why are you treating your servants like this? Nobody gives us straw and they tell us, make bricks. Look at us, we're being beaten, and it's not our fault. But Pharaoh said, lazy, that's what you are, lazy. That's why you're whining. Let us go so we can worship our God. Well then, go back to work. Nobody's going to give you straw, and at the end of the day, you better bring your full quota of bricks. The Israelite foremen saw that they were in a bad way, having to go back and tell their workers, not one brick short in your daily quota. And then they left Pharaoh. They found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them. The foreman said to them, may God see what you have done and judge you. You've made us stink before Pharaoh and his servants. You've put a weapon in his hand that's going to kill us. Moses went back to God and said, my master, why are you treating this people so badly? Why did you ever send me? From the moment I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, the things have only gotten worse for his people and the rescue. Does this look like a rescue to you? Chapter 6. God said to Moses, now that you'll see what I'll do, Pharaoh, with a strong hand, I'll send them out free. With a strong hand, he'll drive them out of this land. God continued to speak to Moses, reassuring him, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as the strong God, but by my name, God, I am present. I was not knowing to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the country in which they lived as sojourners. But now I've heard the groanings of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians continue to enslave, and I've remembered my covenant. Therefore tell the Israelites, I am God. I will bring you out from under the cruel, hard labor of Egypt. I will rescue you from slavery. I'll redeem you, intervening with the great acts of judgment. I'll take you as my own people, and I'll be God to you. You'll know that I am God, your God, who brings you out from under the cruel, hard labor of Egypt. I'll bring you into the land that I promised to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and give you as my own country. I am God. Then Moses delivered this message to the Israelites. They didn't even hear him. They were that beaten down in the spirit by harsh slave conditions. Then God said to Moses, go and speak to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and so that he'll release the Israelites from this land. Moses answered to God, look, the Israelites won't even listen to me. How do you expect Pharaoh to? Besides, I stutter. But God said again, laid out the facts to Moses and Aaron regarding the Israelites and Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and he again commanded them to lead the Israelites out of the land of Egypt. These are the heads of the tribes, the sons of Reuben, Israel's firstborn: Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Camir. These are the families of Reuben. The sons of Simon: Jamil, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Joar, and Saul, the son of the Canaanite woman. These are the families of Simon. These are the names of the sons of Levi in the order of their birth: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gishon by family: Laban and Shemi. The sons of Kohath: Abar, Izhar, Haran, and Uziel. Kohath lived to be 133. The sons of Mary, Malay, and Mushi. These are the sons of Levi in order of their birth. Amari married his aunt Johabad, and she had Aaron and Moses. Aaron lived 137 years. The son of Azar, Kodan, and Kabrak, and Krai. The sons of Jitel, Mishel, Ezlam, and Sisri. The sons of Aaron married Ishlaba, the daughter of Amemabad, the sister of Nasham. And she said to Nahum and Abihu, Elizar, and Ithamar. The sons of Korah, Asar, Alkan, and Albanama. These are the families of Korah. Aaron's son Elsair married one of the daughters of Patel, and she's had Phinehas. These are the heads of the Levite families, family by family. This is Aaron and Moses, whom God ordered, bring the Israelites out of the land of Egypt by clan. These are the men whom Moses and Aaron told Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to release the Israelites in Egypt. And that's how the good things when God next spoke to Moses in Egypt. God addressed Moses saying, I am God. Tell Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, everything I say to you. Moses answered, look at me, I stutter. Why would Pharaoh listen to me? Chapter 7. Good morning, Mama. God told Moses, look at me. I'll make you as God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You are to speak everything I command you, and your brother Aaron will tell it to Pharaoh. Then he will release the Israelites from this land. And at the same time, I am going to put Pharaoh back up and follow up by filling Egypt with signs and wonders. Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, but I will have my way against Egypt and bring out my soldiers, my people, the Israelites, from Egypt by a mighty act of judgment. The Egyptians will realize that I am God when I step in and take Israelites out of their country. Moses and Aaron did exactly what God commanded. Moses was 80 and Aaron was 83. They spoke to Pharaoh. Then God spoke to Moses and Aaron. He said, when Pharaoh speaks to you and says, prove yourselves, perform a miracle, then tell Aaron, take your staff and throw it down in front of Pharaoh, and it will turn into a snake. Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and did what God commanded. God threw his staff down in front of Pharaoh and his servants, and it turned into a snake. Pharaoh called the wise men and sorcerers. The magicians of Egypt did the same thing, but by their indications. Each man threw his staff on the ground, and they all turned to snakes. But Aaron's staff swallowed their staffs. Yet Pharaoh was stubborn as ever. He wouldn't listen to them, just as God had said. God said to Moses, Pharaoh is a stubborn man. He refuses to release the people. First thing in the morning, go and meet Pharaoh as he goes down to the river. At the shore of the Nile, take the staff turned into a snake and say to him, God, the God of the Hebrews, sent me to you with this message. Release my people so that they can worship me in the wilderness. So far, you haven't listened. This is how you'll know that I am God. I'm going to take the staff that I'm holding and strike the Nile River's water. The water will turn to blood. The fish in the Nile will die, and the Nile will sink. The Egyptians won't be able to drink the Nile water. God said to Moses, tell Aaron, take your staff and wave it over the waters of Egypt, over the rivers, its canal, its ponds, and the bodies of water, so that they turn to blood. There'll be blood everywhere in Egypt, even in pots and pans. Moses and Aaron did exactly as God commanded them. Aaron raised his staff and hit the water in the Nile. With Pharaoh and his servants watching. All the water in the Nile turned to blood. The fish in the Nile died. The Nile sank, and the Egyptians couldn't drink the water, and the blood was everywhere in Egypt. But the magicians of Egypt did the same thing with their indications. Still, Pharaoh remained stubborn. He wouldn't listen to them, as God had said, and he turned on his heel and went home. He never gave it a second thought. But all the Egyptians had to dig inland from the river for water because they couldn't drink the Nile water. 7 days went by after God had struck the Nile. All right. And then tomorrow we'll pick up on chapter 8, which is strike 2. So we'll see what continues with Moses' story. If you remember yesterday's reading, we talked about God heard the groaning of his people. And I had challenged you to look up the several Hebrew words for groan and cry. So if you haven't, we're going to look them up now together. All righty. And let's see what it says. Here we go. So let's see here. So groan in Hebrew, a low, mournful sound uttering in pain and grief. Groan can also mean come on. Let's see here. Pain. So there's many different meanings to groan. And then we'll look up cry. To shed tears and to weep. And so in Exodus 2:23 through 25, to gain a deeper understanding of what this means. So if you haven't, did you get to look into that yesterday? And if you did, share in the comments what that means and what the deeper understanding that you got out of 23:25. And then the next question to start thinking about as we continue reading is the 10 plagues that God brought on Egypt. And so we've already talked about 2. And so as we're going on, this is where we're going to start writing those 10 plagues that were represented and why they were significant. So that's kind of where we're at, the first 2 questions of the week. And if have you wrote your letter to God, if you wrote your letter to God and his reply, write done in the chat. If you have not, when are you going to do so? Plan some time within the next couple of days to write that letter to God. So many blessings, y'all. I love you so much. And I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day. We'll pick up at chapter 8 tomorrow. Bye-bye now.